Today I'm talking all about our morning basket, how we do it, what it's going to look like next year as we go, and how I organize, how I plan and decide on what I'm going to do on which day. So you are new to homeschool and you're not sure what a morning basket is. You may have heard of it or you may not have, but you still just don't really know what it is. Or you've been homeschooling for many years and you have never come across the term. It's just a general term. It doesn't necessarily have to be a literal basket. It could be a shelf, a cart, it could be anything. It's just basically where you keep all of your subjects that you do together as a group. So a lot of families do things like Bible together or music or art. They do a read aloud, maybe they do history or science. It's just things that you do together as a family. So some people will call it family subjects, group subjects, morning cart, morning basket. They're all generally interchangeable terms for the same thing. Here is what my morning basket looks like. At one point we did have a cart, but that just got way too cluttered. So I like that I can fit everything in here, and then it just goes in the corner of our schoolroom and it's nice and tucked away when we're not using it. So what I have in the basket, I'm just going to kind of go through and show it and then share how I use it on a day-to-day level. So first we have The Kingdom Strikes Back. This is going to be part of the Sunlight history that we have. We have Story of the World. This is, again, our Sunlight history that my oldest daughter is going to be using. We have Talking with Your Kids About God, 30 Conversations Every Christian Must Have. This is this will be part of our Bible. This is apologetics. Then we have Lights in a Dark Place. This was supposed to be read at the end of last year, but we just didn't get to it, so I'm going to save it for this year. This is kind of like a missionary story that we will read about. The Tuttle Twins, The Law. We have The Radical Book for Kids, Exploring the Roots and Shoots of Faith. So this will be Bible as well, obviously. And then we have here The Book of Animal Poetry by Nat Geo. We have A Child's Introduction to Poetry. These books I try, as you can see, they are well loved and used. I buy things secondhand to save a little bit of money, so we haven't used them yet. That's why they look a little bit beat up, but that's okay. Then we have What on Earth Can I Do? A Biblical Worldview of Stewardship. This is a Bible course as well. Then lastly, we have a couple of units. Well, this is one unit from The Good and the Beautiful. This is the botany unit. And then I have my Sunlight World History, year 1 of 2. This is going to be from my oldest one. She is going to do world history, and I will just place it in this binder here. That's where my Sunlight history was last year. So it will be condensed a little bit. It's going to have a little bit, there'll be more room in here. It won't be quite as full. And then lastly, we have just a couple, these are from my little one. These are just, she likes to color while we are having our morning time, so I just store them in here. So if that looks like it's a lot, now remember, like I said, this is, my children are going into 8th grade, 6th grade, and 4th grade, and so over the years we have built up to this amount of work, and it's not something that we just went into. If you have little kids, your morning basket is not going to look this in depth. If you have older kids, you can start to add more as their attention spans grow. I'm not using all of these every single day. Some of them I'm going to use daily, and then some of them I'm going to use just once a week or twice a week. So I'm going to show you how I scheduled and planned it out. So here is kind of the schedule that I will be following. So I spent way too much time making this on Canva. So we have here week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. So I will have 4 weeks of morning time work that we have done just on one sheet of paper. And I will go through and print off, up to 30, however many weeks we do until we're finished with our morning time for the year. So what I did is we will have one time a week talking about God. I didn't know how to abbreviate that. So that will be this Talking with Your Kids About God. So how I figured one day a week is because there's 30 conversations every Christian parent must have. Well, 30, we could do one a week. That leaves us 30 weeks. So we will do that just once a week. Then we will have the radical questions. We will do that once a week. So again, how I figured that is because there are 60, I believe it's 66 or 67 questions in here. I'm going to try to find it. There are 67 questions. And as you can see, each little lesson or chapter is only like 2 or 3 pages. And it just covers a multitude of different theological and biblical discussions. So I figured this would work well on a day where we don't have very much time to do a Bible study and to go super, super in depth, but we still will be covering topics. So we will do this once a week as well. And this will last us 2 years because there's 67. So we'll do half the book this year, half the book next year. Then the other 3 days a week, we will be doing Apologia Bible. Now, this is level 4. We have done all 3 of the previous levels, and I just have known just from experience that if we read 3 or 4 pages a day, 3 times a week, we can get through this in 1 year. So we will do this. This will be our main Bible that we'll do 3 times a week. Next, we will have memory work. That comes from Sunlight. They recommend which Bible verses and passages to memorize and in what time frame. So I am going to just check that out and have them all printed out, and so that those are ready for next year. But we will do that 4 times a week. Science, we will do twice a week. I'm going to skip that for now, and I'll come back to that. Just because there's a whole explanation for that. Okay, Tuttle Twins. This is where the quote, I just call them extras. I don't know really a better way to call them, but they are what we will be doing that's not, doesn't have a, it's our miscellaneous category. So this, I have about, I want to say 10 or 12 books. It's the Tuttle Twins. So it's the law and economics and government and all that. So we will go through that, and these don't take very long to go through. We can go through one of these books in 2 or 3 settings. And so whenever I just finish a book, I'm not on any specific timeline. Whenever I finish one of these books, I'll just move on to the next, and we will read not more than like 10 minutes or so. And then next we will do poetry 1 time a week. So I have 2 poetry books. This animal poetry book, we will just read this every day. This is super fun. It's from a Sunlight recommendation, but it's for like the littler kids, but we really enjoy just light poetry, and the pictures in here are gorgeous. It's all different types of animals. So I think this will be really fun just to read 1 of these a day. So since this is like 200 pages, if we read 1 or 2 pages a day, we will get through it. So I didn't put it on my list because I know I'm not going to forget to read this. This will just be something that we warm up in the morning. But this is a poetry book that will be more in depth. So for example, this is talking about narrative verse, and an example is Paul Revere's Ride. They also have, if you see here, play track 23, they kind of give you a background of it, and you can listen to someone else doing the narration of the poem. So we're going to do that because my kids hear my voice all the time. So if they can listen to someone else, definitely we'll take advantage of that. This is a sonnet. So of course it's going to talk about William Shakespeare. Free verse. So it's just going to go through different poems and kind of give a background on it. So that will just be once a week. Now we're getting to the history read aloud. Oh, I forgot to add that. Let me go grab the first history read aloud that we'll be reading. So the very first history read aloud, again, my oldest will be studying Sunlight's world history. So I will be doing a lot of the reading, like our historical fiction read aloud will be based on her ancient history up through the Middle Ages. So we will read this one aloud. And we will do, this is the only one we're really doing 5 days a week, just because I want to make sure we keep on top of it. Everything else I'm pretty flexible about, but this, we have to make sure we stay on top of that. And then we will have a fun read aloud. So I added this one in here too, because I forgot it. We have, this is just an example. Right now we're reading this in the summer. This is the Donut King, but you'll get the idea. Just whatever we choose as a fun read aloud. Not assigned, we're not in any rush or anything. When we read it, however long it takes is however long it takes. And then lastly is a missionary story, 4 days a week. So this will be our very first missionary story. And again, we will read this 4 days a week, but we're not on any time frame. We will just I read these about 10 minutes a day or so. And then when we finish this one, we will read Mary Slessor. And if we can finish both of these in a year, that's great. If we get to a third one and start on a third one, that's fine too. But again, these don't really have a timeline. We just read them and take our time with them. And then what I did not pick out is because I'm going to be doing 2 separate history courses with my daughters, because we're just at an age where we need to do history separately. So I do have her Sunlight in here, and I will keep this in here just for convenience sake. And, you know, it has the questions and answers and everything like that. But overall, we're just going to she will be doing this, and my younger 2 will be doing the Good and the Beautiful history. I just don't have room in here to store all of it. So that's kind of why that's not in here. But the Sunlight, my binder, I like to have my binder in here, and it has other things as well. So this binder has different sections. This is my Sunlight from last year. And I just separate it into the read aloud parts and the poetry, and there's a map back here. So I'll do the same, and then I'll add like our morning time checklist, and that way I can keep on top of it. I also have our memory work that's printed out. So this is kind of like the master, you know, I was going to say trapper keeper. You know what I mean. Binder. All you 90s moms know exactly what I'm talking about. So how I determined how many days a week we will do everything. We go to co-op 1 day a week. So we really are very, very, very limited on what we can do that day. So I just base it around a 4 day a week schedule. So I want to make sure we do Bible every single day. So that's why I have this radical questions for kids 1 day. That's our co-op day when it's a little bit when we don't have as much time. But when I have more time, that's when we can do these 2 apologetics. This apologetics, and this is a biblical worldview. Memory work we'll do just 4 days a week. I will talk about that in just a second. And then I will choose one of these a day a week. So science, either 1 day a week, Tuttle Twins 1 day a week, poetry 1 day a week, read aloud again, we'll do 5 days a week. And then these 2, we won't have time on co-op day. I've never done a planning like this, but I think it's going to work out great. I can just envision it. I've tried other things before, and this I think is going to be the best. What is different about this year is that you'll notice I don't have Monday we're doing this, Tuesday we're doing this, Wednesday we're doing this. We just have so many days a week we're doing it, because I tried, okay, Monday we did this, and then by Thursday I'm like, wait, did we do poetry this week? Did we do, you know, the Tuttle Twins? Did we do that this week? And then I can't remember. So what I'm going to do is just write it down. It doesn't matter what day a week we do it, as long as it's done 1 day a week, twice a week, 4 times a week, etc. And this, I think, will help me stay on track and know what we did when and what day. So I'm excited to use this. My girls are going to be using it for their schooling as well, but we will definitely use this for our morning time to keep track of it that way. I will talk about this very briefly, and then I will show you exactly what a morning would look like and how long everything would take, how much time I spend on each subject, so that you can get a better idea of what it's going to look like. So a year ago, I had bought multiple units of the Good and the Beautiful Science. We have used their science for the last several years, and I intended to use it this past school year. So I bought 3 or 4 units, and then we decided that we wanted to try to do an elective for co-op, but the only thing that we could do for co-op was science. And they, you know, as a new family, you have to kind of take what you can get, so to speak. So they said, you're more than welcome to do science. And the electives opened up. So we ended up doing science last year, which was great at co-op, but I still have these. And I'm like, I don't want to get rid of them. I mean, I could sell them, but I'm only going to make a fraction of what I bought them for. And so this is a lot of money. And I really enjoy doing science all together as a family. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this very, 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 very basic. My girls, like I said, they're doing science at a co-op. So if you haven't seen that, they are. So that's going to be their main science. But what I'm going to do is, since botany is 13 lessons. I'm just going to do one lesson a week. So since we're doing this twice a week, I'm just going to do half of a lesson. And I told them we're not doing all the experiments and activities and things like that. The Good and the Beautiful has their experiments recorded, so you can just look at them online. If you don't have, if you're not able to do them or want to do them or have the supplies or anything like that, you can go online and watch them. And so again, my girls do an experiment and an activity every single week at co-op, multiple actually. So they're definitely not lacking in that area. But I just thought that this would be something fun to do because I really enjoy doing the units, the science units. So we will do very, very, very simple. We're just going to take 10, maybe 15 minutes twice a week and go over this unit. And then they each have their journals that they can go through. And we'll just keep it very simple that way. And that way, I don't know, like I said, I like doing science together and I kind of miss it. And so this will kind of kill two birds with one stone. We will use it, not waste it, do science together. But again, keep it simple, not doing all the activities and experiments and things like that. They will get that done at co-op, but we'll get the information. And then these two are part of the Sunlight History that my daughter will be doing. She will be going through Story of the World Volume 1 and 2 this year. So that will be changing out mid-year. Okay, so again, this is what the science or the morning basket is going to look like, all with everything together. So what I would do on any given morning, I'm going to take my little list. I'm going to go through and say, okay, talking to your children about God. I did plan on doing that Mondays. So I will pull this one out and have this set up. And then I know I'm not doing those two Bible things. I do have my memory work, so I always pull out my little binder. I always have this at the bottom just to keep track of everything. I will do, let's say I want to do the Tuttle Twins. So I will pull this one out. We'll do that one day a week. And again, I'm going to rotate between poetry, the Tuttle Twins, and science. Those are the four that I'm rotating between. I will only do this twice a week, this once a week. History read aloud. We will do this 5 days a week. Okay. Fun read aloud and missionary story. And that would be it for that day. So as you can see here, most everything else is staying. This is what this day would look like. We would do our Bible very first. We would make sure we get our historical fiction done. Then we would do an extra. So it would be this or poetry. Oh, I did forget my one thing. We would start the morning with our big book of animal poetry. And then I would finish up with our missionary story and our fun read aloud. So how long this would take, this I plan on taking, I'm going to be generous and say 5 minutes. I really think it's going to take 2 or 3 minutes. And then this one, I think it's going to take about, I haven't done this one yet, so maybe 15, 20 minutes or so. Just to be on the safe side. It's going to take a little bit longer just because it's discussions and conversations, and that's fine. This is the most important thing. And then this Tuttle Twins, I don't plan on spending any more than 10 to 15 minutes in the extras. So for the poetry, the science, the Tuttle Twins, 10 to 15 minutes at most. And then for the historical fiction, these usually take us about 20 minutes to read. Missionary story, 10 minutes. I don't spend any more than 10 minutes. It takes us a while to get through these, but that's fine. And then this, we read if we have time. So if things are running late and we're behind or whatever, this one is kind of on the last. So most of the time we can get to it, but sometimes I just say, okay, we'll save this for later. And this, we don't read any more than 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes or so. So as you can see, between 5 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, that's really the maximum amount of time I spend on any given subject. So we kind of can go quickly and move forward from one thing to the next. I'm not sitting here reading, whatever for an hour. I'm not like, okay, let's try to get through this entire chapter for the next 45 minutes. I keep it very short, but I also keep it engaging. And I think it really helps move things along. We can cover a lot of things, but we still have good, deep discussions. I really think that this works really, really well for us. I'm going to put this all back, but as a reminder, just please remember if you are new to homeschooling, even if your kids are older and you're still newish to homeschooling, and you feel like you have to do all of this and rotate things, and please don't feel like that, because I remember feeling like that at the very beginning of my homeschool journey. That doesn't go there. I just remember like seeing all these morning basket things and being so overwhelmed and saying, where do people figure this? How do they choose what they have? And that just comes over time. Don't feel like you have to do it all, especially your very first year or when your kids are little. Just do what you can. Prioritize what's important to you, and you'll learn over the years what is important to you. We've done hymns, we've done art, poetry, music, we've done thinking skills. We always do apologetics. So there's all types of different things that you can focus and make your, something that you really always have like a staple in your morning time and in your homeschool. And that can change year to year. This morning basket looks pretty identical to the one we did last year. So that's kind of how I know how long things will take and how it works well for us, because we've done this before. And so just remember that. Make it be your own. Don't make it be my homeschool or anybody else's. Make it be what is going to work best for you and your family.